Welcome everybody to the sports culture, all things sports. It's Jay Banfo, and we got to talk about Rich Paul. But before we get into that, like, comment, share, subscribe, and thanks for your support. So it's been about a month since Rich Paul and Max Kellerman dropped their new podcast called Game Over. I've previously did a video on the podcast when it first dropped, and I had a couple of critiques about it. Now, my intent isn't to necessarily always talk about the podcast because I'm not really that interested in it. Like I said in that previous video, I'm not really a fan of Rich Paul. Max Kellerman, he's cool, but Rich Paul, he just kind of always rubbed me the wrong way. So I didn't always want to critique their podcast because I'm not really interested. But what happens is their clips come on my Twitter timeline, and the things that they say, I just have to comment on it. So the most recent episode of that podcast, Rich Paul gets into a spiel about Jordan, more specifically the Jordan brand, and how it kind of came into fruition.
And what I was saying.
I
when
understand
said-
what you're saying.
Okay, fine. So for the visual learners, we have Brand Jordan, or Michael Jordan at this time. Michael Jordan had two really great partners. One in Nike, of many, but these are two I chose. And the other one in Gatorade.
Okay.
Now, from a marketing perspective, they told two of the greatest stories. Nike, Air. I believe I can fly. If you put these shoes on, they had people jumping off garages.
Rich, I had a pair of Jordans, like the Jordan 3s. You never saw someone with less hops than especially me at 13 or whatever, getting this high off the ground with my tongue out of my mouth.
Did you feel like you can fly?
Yes.
Great.
Yes, I did.
From a Gatorade perspective, it was the fuel to win. And it was Gatorade that created the lullaby, like Mike, if I could be like
right.
Mike. Exactly, right?
Had the whole world trying to be like Mike.
So what's the importance in those two things? Not only is it the product of hydration, the product of footwear, etc., it's also the media spin that they to really push these campaigns. They're pushing it. And at a time where we didn't have social media, people didn't have computers in their house in abundance, there wasn't much. You had sports, and he was at the forefront of it, right? Then you have the NBA. Like all eyes on me, all eyes on Mike. It was clear. It was him.
So I actually don't disagree with what Rich Paul had to say in that regards. He made the connection between Michael Jordan, Nike, and Gatorade, and talked about the importance of the marketing behind everything that goes on with Michael Jordan. And I don't disagree with that. These two companies, they had a plan for Michael Jordan, and they executed it really well. Now, Rich Paul went into talking about drug dealers and BMWs and a lot of nonsense. I'm just going to totally dismiss that, act like I didn't even hear it. But him connecting Nike, Gatorade, Michael Jordan, I believe I can fly, Jumpman, I get all of that. I agree with him. However, my issue with that segment is Rich Paul was basically sneak dissing Michael Jordan throughout that whole spiel. Now, I'm from Chicago, and I can see a sneak diss a mile away. For the audience that don't know what sneak dissing is, it's basically an indirect, cryptic, passive-aggressive way to talk about somebody, right? You don't directly say it to somebody's face or directly disrespect somebody, but you go about it in a roundabout way to talk negatively about them. So Rich Paul was sneak dissing Michael Jordan in this regard. He was basically saying that the whole Michael Jordan persona, the phenomenon, the reason why people like him, like his shoes, is because it was manufactured and it wasn't authentic. I grew up in Chicago, and I was there personally to see the Michael Jordan growth. So that was authentic, right? Granted, I get it. Nike, Gatorade, they did what they were supposed to do, but Michael Jordan was something that we've never seen before. And I will give Max Kellerman credit. If you watch the entire segment, he pushed back and he talked about this thing does not work unless Michael Jordan becomes this great basketball player, right? He was doing things that we've never seen, from the dunks, the crazy layups. Like, it just doesn't work without Michael Jordan being this great basketball player. And Rich Paul knows this, but he's trying to discredit Michael Jordan. And it just bothers me so much, right? But unfortunately, I do understand and I get where Rich Paul is coming from. His loyalty is with LeBron James, and it's always going to be with LeBron James. Rich Paul wouldn't be the Rich Paul super agent that we know if it wasn't for LeBron putting him on, basically, right? So he's going to always big up LeBron James. There's nothing LeBron James can do wrong. He's riding with him. And I just wish he would express that more. Just say I have a bias towards LeBron James. He acts like he doesn't, but he really does. And I promise you, I wouldn't even be as upset as I am if he would just outright say, hey, whatever LeBron says goes. I would respect that a lot more. Instead of this sneak dissing everybody around LeBron, it's just so it's been weird for me. I can't lie, it's been weird, right? So I think the $1 million question that I have is, why is an NBA super agent going down this route of having a podcast and just spilling his guts about various topics? Like, he is an agent, a current agent in the NBA, and he has all of these opinion on things. It never set right with me, because don't you have other things to worry about than the opinions of others? The only conclusion that I could come up with is that Rich Paul is the mouthpiece for LeBron James currently, right? LeBron is in the last year of his deal with the Los Angeles Lakers, and he doesn't really know how to express his frustrations with the Lakers, right? Yes, he's going to do the passive aggressive thing, but I don't think he can really express how he feels without going the passive aggressive route, right? So instead of going down that route, because we've seen that a million times from him, he has Rich Paul speaking for him. So as the audience, I want you to do this. Whenever you hear Rich Paul speak and talk, just imagine that it's coming from LeBron James, and it will be a lot easier, right? So I just talked about the Michael Jordan thing. Imagine LeBron saying all of those sneak dissing things about Michael Jordan. That is the best explanation I can come up with, because nothing else will make sense. But LeBron James using his agent as the mouthpiece to really get his thoughts off, that actually makes a lot of sense. Now, with that being said, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time.